Oh là là.
Hello everyone and welcome for a new car review in Palma de Mallorca. It's a beautiful place, isn't it? I love it. We're here to drive a car that can be like the shy girl who suddenly dazzles everyone at a party. In soccer terms, it's not the star striker, but it scores when it counts. It performs well, but it's not always the most fun to drive. You've recognized it. It's the Audi S3. Facelift? Well, when I say recognized, given that they've removed the logo from the grille, it's going to be a bit hard to recognize it. So what does this facelift offer compared to the previous version? Yes, an all-new grille, it's specific, yes. But if you see a normal Audi A3, well, it's pretty much the same thing. Here, our car is equipped with a dark pack, which gives us a dark emblem, and the little inserts you see here in black. The front lights are modern, you can customize them. If your neighbor has an Audi S3, you can stand out from the crowd with a different LED daytime running light. Look here, you'll see lots of little LEDs. You can play checkerboard or Tetris or whatever you like. It's a slightly different car. This is a new experience. What else is changing? Unfortunately, not much. Here you have 18-inch aluminium rims. These wheels are specific to the Audi S3, the S3 facelift. Well, these are 19 inches rims, available as an option. They are fitted with Bridgestone tires, but fortunately you can choose semi-slick tires as an option, made by Falken. Don't ask me why. I think Falken was the best choice for the tender. You won't get Michelin Cup 2, you'll get Falken. They're not Pirelli either. And what else has been redesigned at the rear of the car? Obviously the rear bumper. It's a facelift, so it's normal to change the rear bumper, staying with the same theme. Here you have a rather strange kind of Como line, and here you can see them clearly on either side. It's an exhaust system by Akrapovic. And of course it's an option, you don't get it as standard. And this beautiful exhaust system, it costs the princely sum of 5,000 euros. Convinced? Even if the exterior doesn't change much, Audi explains that this is the sportiest S3 ever produced. The facelift is really very light, don't you think? On the other hand, they've really put a lot of work into what I'm going to show you right now. Starting with the engine, the 4-cylinder EA888 in Evo 4 version. Engine power increases by 23 PS and 20 Newton meters of torque. Ta-da! 333 PS and 420 Newton meters of torque. Yes, it's the same as the Volkswagen Golf in R version. We're looking at Audi's Volkswagen Golf R. We can say that that's it. That's for the engine part. And there are other things. The entire front of the car, with the exception of the shock absorbers and anti-roll bar, is taken from the Audi RS3. And then at the rear, the entire suspension kinematics have been modified. And here, I forgot to mention it, you now have a negative camber at the front. In terms of suspension, the Audi S3 comes with two types of suspension. There's the sport suspension, which is a bit harsh. There's also the DCC, which costs 850 euros and is quite impressive. Now for the brakes, the brake discs are 3 millimeters larger than before. The brake pads are also wider. So in theory, the braking performance is better. But then again, these are Volkswagen Golf R parts. Audi has also worked on the gearbox. Shifts are optimized and quicker. Downshifts are also made earlier. You can downshift earlier. This makes for more dynamic driving, even when braking. Above all, there is a major new feature in this generation of the Audi S3 to make it truly sporty. It's at the rear. This is the famous torque splitter already available on the Audi RS3. It's a dual clutch system which accelerates the outside wheel when cornering. In simple terms, this gives you a torque vectoring effect. This technology gives you drift mode on the Audi RS3. This drift mode is also available on the Volkswagen Golf R, but not on the Audi S3. No, they've reserved it for their S3. So, this system on the S3 should enable it to devour corners with ease. Under full acceleration, a system that should actually make the car sportier. And to find out, we're going to take it out on the twisty roads. The promising twisty roads of Palma de Mallorca. Twisty roads that are apparently great fun to drive on. Ah yes, and inside the car there are a few differences too. The air vents have now chrome accents. You can see them here. Audi has reworked a lot of the inserts in the cabin, and you've got this ugly thing that leaves fingerprints on it. There's also this texture that looks like Alcantara, but it's probably not called Alcantara. There are also some buttons that have disappeared from the Volkswagen Golf R. People who don't like buttons will be happy. And there's one last thing I discovered at the press conference, which I didn't know at all. The car's new infotainment system includes native applications. For example, Spotify is here. You no longer need CarPlay. So that's great. No need to plug in or connect a smartphone. But above all, I discovered that you can rent options on the car I've written everything down in this notebook. You can choose the MMI navigation system. You can choose the adaptive cruise control. You also have dual zone air conditioning, automatic high beam, and finally, traffic sign recognition. Basically, if you think you're going to need them on a holiday trip, you can activate them for a week or a month. But that's not what I'm interested in at all. I want to know how the car handles on the road. I want to know if the torque splitter is convincing, if 333 PS makes a difference. I want to know if the car understeers. And above all, I'd like to know if this car is like the Audi RS3, launched in 2011. It was the very first of its kind. It's interesting because we have virtually the same engine power. With the Audi RS3, you have 340 PS, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.6 seconds. The Audi S3 makes 333 PS and hits 100 kilometers per hour in 4.7 seconds. Yes, they are almost at the same level. Time to check it out on the road. An Audi S3 is always a pleasure to drive, but the first surprising thing is the default comfort mode. You want to drive peacefully, to relax. It's like a family car, but no, that's not why we came here.
The icon, Audi Drive Select.
This is Audi's adaptive suspension. It's optional and costs 850 euros. And you can choose from a number of other modes, including dynamic. And for the first time, the dynamic plus mode. It makes ESP a little less intrusive, but you can go even further by pressing this button. Even though in an Audi it's never completely deactivated. In theory, this means there are no annoying electronic interventions. We're in manual mode and dynamic plus. Here we go. We have larger brake pads, larger discs, basically bigger brakes. When you hit the brake pedal, the feeling isn't perfect, but it's fine. It might be better over time. As for the engine, it was already very good before. Now it's a little more responsive. The gearbox has also been optimized with quicker gear changes. You can also downshift earlier. At 4,200 revs per minute, it works, which is great. And the red zone is at 6,800 RPM. I think that was already the case before, but the engine is a bit more vigorous. You can feel it. It's not huge, but you can feel it. We've got Potenza sport tires. They don't really give you confidence in the front end. You need to choose the semi-slick. That should be better. The car's still understeering a bit. It doesn't want to pivot very well. It feels like the back of the car doesn't want to move. It's a bit sad. And, oh, that's not bad here. Here's the torque splitter. It was there. When you push hard in the corners and going full throttle, you can feel it. The car doesn't push the front. It finally makes the rear dynamic. It's great. Sadly, the rear end doesn't settle down when you slam on the brakes. I think they've reserved that for the RS3. Otherwise, what's the point of buying an RS3? Well, okay, for the engine. Yeah, it's well balanced, but not very fun. That said, given the car's position in the Audi range, that's to be expected. But it's true that this is the best Audi S3 ever. Audi took 25 years to make the best S3. Let's hope they don't take as long to make a good electric version of the S3. And this is an incredible machine, an absolutely versatile car, but there's still one question, one that will require a comparative test. Isn't a Golf in R version a bit better with its funny drift mode? I can't tell you right now, I've never driven this car. It's time to conclude. This is the first S3 from 1999. And at least back then you could see it, unlike the new one where you can't. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Audi S3. But after this test drive, we've done as much as we can with this car. And indeed it is, unsurprisingly, an Audi S3. Audi promises that it's the sportiest of them all, and it's true, the sportiest of all S3s, the one that offers the most performance. But despite that, it refuses to be wild. The rear wheels are very locked to the road. It's well balanced. It's fast. But the philosophy of the car has not changed. And finally, compared to the Audi RS3, which came out in 2011, I think that today's S3 is much better. The price has gone up a little, from 58,000 euros to 63,000 euros. If you want the sedan version, you have to add another 525 euros to the price. But French taxes push it up to 130,000 euros. So ladies and gentlemen, long live France.